Hello, and welcome to this 10-minute video of stretches and strengthening exercises for upper back pain. My name is Joelle, and we don't need any props for today. So we're just going to begin in a seated position with our feet flat on the floor, hands behind us facing out diagonally. We're just going to lift the chest for a gentle stretch here, bringing the shoulder blades together behind us. You can close the eyes, start to breathe deeply. And you can choose if you want to scoot the hips closer to the feet for a deeper stretch, or further away if you feel like it's too intense. So a lot of us have upper back pain because of how we live and work and move in today's society. A lot of us spend so much time sitting at desks or hunching over, carrying backpacks, heavy items, and this type of back pain can be really discouraging. So I encourage you today to pay attention to which stretches and strengthening exercises feel best to you so you can come back to them. And of course, never push into pain. Beautiful. And we're going to stay seated now in any position that feels comfortable, legs straight out in front of us, or maybe cross-legged or sitting on the heels. And you're just going to interlace your fingers and punch forwards, rounding through the upper back and bringing the chin towards the chest. So we're not forcing ourselves forwards here. This isn't a hamstring stretch. We're trying to isolate the stretch to the upper back. Some of you might know that I've already created videos on neck pain as well as shoulder pain, and I will link those below in case they're helpful. Great job. And now we're going to come to hands and knees, so shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and we'll lift the right arm straight out in front of us, hold for one breath, and then set it down. And now let's do that on the left side. Left arm extends in front of us and set it back down. Now you can either repeat that motion with just the arm, or you might add the opposite leg. So the right arm and left leg lift out and extend, and then the left arm and right leg extend. Let's do a couple more on each side, with or without the leg, just strengthening through the upper back here, keeping the core tight. Let's just do one more. And then set it down. Great job. So now we can open up through the left arm, reaching it up towards the ceiling like you wanted to brush your fingers against it. Take some little circles with that arm and then slide it underneath the chest. So we're coming down onto our left ear and left shoulder here. We can either tiptoe the right fingertips forwards, or you might place your hand behind the back here and maybe even take hold of the inner left thigh. And again, you could close the eyes here. Notice your breath. Notice how this stretch feels in the body and specifically in the upper back. And when you're ready, we can bring the right palm back to the floor to press up. And we'll just switch sides. So this time that right arm reaches up, taking some little circles, stretching towards the ceiling. And then we'll just slide that arm underneath to come onto our right ear and right shoulder. And again, you could leave the left arm where it is, pressing into the floor. You could crawl those fingertips forwards. Or another option is to rest it behind the back, perhaps intensifying by catching hold of that right inner thigh. Find what works for you. Remember that this is your practice, and you should always do what feels best in your body for today. Beautiful. So let's press back into the left hand to come up, and take your time making your way onto your stomach. So the forehead can rest on the mat, the arms come out to a T shape, straight out from the shoulders, and then keeping the arms straight, we're just going to lift both hands up as high as we can, squeezing the shoulder blades, and then we'll hold for a moment and set back down. So we're going to do 10 total, so lifting up and lowering down, going at your own pace here. Great job. This is one of those exercises I always feel is a little harder than it probably looks. So the more we squeeze the shoulder blades together, the more that upper back needs to work to get the arms just that little bit higher each time. Now, let's release that motion. You can interlace the fingers behind the back. And we're just going to pull the hands towards the feet to lift the upper body off the mat. So this, again, is kind of a tough one. So we're only here for about 20 seconds. If you'd like, you can also lift the feet, or you might leave them pressing down into the mat if that doesn't feel good on the lower back. Beautiful. And then let's release that. We're simply going to roll over onto our back for another mobility exercise. So take your time, make your way onto your back, and then once you're there, we're going to place the back of the hands onto the floor, bending the elbows, and we're going to drag the backs of the hands down towards the hips, and then slide them back up, keeping the backs of the hands on the floor. So when we pull down towards the hips, we're making sort of a W shape with our arms. And then we stretch back up into a diagonal. So we're only going as far as we can keep the backs of the hands on the floor, and ideally the elbows are staying on the floor, at least pretty close to the floor as well. Now it's time for my favorite. So let's bend the right knee. We'll bring it across the body and hold on to it with the left hand. And you can stay like this, or you could also bend that right knee, bring the foot behind you, and catch onto it with the right hand. So we're kind of in a pretzel shape here. And now, keeping that left shoulder on the mat, we're going to start rotating the right shoulder open and closed. So we're bringing it away from the mat as we turn towards the left, and then towards the mat as we turn back to the right. And you can follow the movement with the gaze as well by turning the head. So this is probably a pretty small movement here, but I just love the stretch that I get on the upper back when I do this. It's great for the mobility in the thoracic spine. And again, it maybe doesn't look like much, but I just find this one so effective here. So see if you can find some enjoyment. Beautiful job. And then we'll roll back to the center to do the other side. So the left knee comes across, we hold onto it with our right hand, and then that right leg might bend as well, so we can catch the foot behind us with our left hand. And then it's the left shoulder now that's going to rotate in and out. So lifting up and then back down towards the left, towards the mat. It might actually be a little bit easier for you to see on this side what the movement actually looks like. And this is one that might feel a little bit complicated the first time we try it, but once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it'll become second nature. And again, you might turn your neck gently side to side as well to follow the movement. I do hope, by the way, that once you're done with this video, if you haven't already, you'll subscribe to my channels for free videos every Monday and Thursday. And next week we'll have a video for pain in the adductors, the inner thighs and groin. So let's untangle ourselves. We'll come back onto our backs, hands to a T again. And you can bend the knees, both knees this time, across to the left about 90 degrees. So the outside of the left knee is on the floor. You can rest the left hand on top. You might intensify a little bit by wrapping the knees, or just keep one stacked on top of the other. So the right shoulder is staying on the floor for this stretch. We can either keep the gaze up towards the ceiling or maybe bring it towards the right. And of course, option to close the eyes and just notice the breath and how the stretch is feeling in the body here. Wonderful. So let's come into the same stretch on the other side. Take your time getting here, of course. Bringing both knees towards the right. The left shoulder stays on the floor, pretty close to it anyway. And we're either looking up or maybe turning the gaze towards the left. And again, you could choose to wrap the left knee over the right or just keep them stacked. Twists like this one are such a great release, not only for the upper back, but really for the entire spine. So as you're laying here, just breathe into it. Allow yourself to let go of any tension, any pain. Just give it permission to be on its way. And now we can roll back onto our backs. We'll bring both knees in for a little hug and rocking side to side, noticing how our upper back feels. You're welcome to do this every day if you'd like. Remember that 10 minutes a day, even if that's all we've got can really make a difference in our bodies and mind. Please do hit the like button and leave me a comment letting me know how this went for you, or if you'd like to suggest any other topics for my next video. Do remember to check out those similar videos for shoulders and neck, which I'll link below. And thank you again for joining me today. Namaste.